आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, why this rubbish about this being a Gen Z protest in Nepal is absolutely untrue and the greatest falsehoods. This is mobocracy at its worst. And at 9 o'clock tonight, why some evil people in India want what happened in Nepal and Bangladesh to be repeated on the streets of New Delhi. But we say, hashtag never in India. And ladies and gentlemen, some people are calling what has happened in Nepal fashionably a Gen Z protest. What nonsense is this? Look at the words they use. Gen Z protest. They say 19 dead. The BBC writes 19 dead after Gen Z protests erupt. And India Yesterday media group says all about the move that sparked Gen Z revolution. Somebody says, who is Balen Shah, Gen Z protesters' favorite for Nepal Prime Minister? You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is also a deliberate strategy. Call killers, murderers, Gen Z, and try and give some kind of a moral legitimacy to it all. I call them a lynch mob. For a lynch mob they are and nothing else, ladies and gentlemen. 4 visuals which will prove to you what I'm talking about. First, full frame. Nepal's former Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba being beaten and later last minute rescued from the clutches of these people and taken away. Visual number 2, ladies and gentlemen. The wife of a former Prime Minister, Jalanath Khanal, set ablaze, succumbs to her burns, burnt alive by the people the boring broadcasting corporation calls the Gen Z protesters. How cool is it to say that these killers and murderers are Gen Z? Visual number 3. And this is a lynch mob, nothing but a lynch mob. Nepal's finance minister, seen running on the streets, ladies and gentlemen, as people chase him, punched and kicked in the video. Ladies and gentlemen, another visual out there of a man being beaten to death by the lynch mob. This visual of Nepal's finance minister running on the street stripped of his clothes, people being killed and hammered, their skulls being broken, on the streets of Kathmandu by a murderous lynch mob. But there are some fools, some absolute fools, malicious fools, who call this, ladies and gentlemen, who say that this is a Gen Z protest. It's not, it's madness, and it should be called madness. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an anti-democracy lynch mob. We should be very careful about what has happened, because all institutions are being set ablaze in Nepal. And we have some fools in India, some malicious fools who say that what happened in Nepal should happen in India. Let me show you the visuals. The parliament of Nepal, ladies and gentlemen, broken into and set on fire. And yet there are some people in India who say this should happen in India too. The Supreme Court, ladies and gentlemen, of Nepal set on fire. Political party offices all set on fire. Videos of the destruction are all going viral on social media. Private residences of the President, Prime Minister set on fire. houses of former prime ministers, all set on fire. And the wife, the heart-rending visual of the wife of former Nepal Prime Minister Jhalanath Khanal, who succumbed to her injuries. Hours after her house was set on fire, she was pulled out and she was burnt alive. And ladies and gentlemen, I wish Rahul Gandhi had the sense to tweet today that what happened in Nepal should never happen in India. But for some curious reason, Rahul Gandhi has not done that. Ladies and gentlemen, I find a very uncanny resemblance with what happened in Bangladesh some time back. I want to run visuals and a few comments on the comparison between what happened in Bangladesh and what happened in Nepal. I believe the American deep state is behind both without a shred of doubt. This is the CIA deep state playbook, which is in operation in South Asia. India is being surrounded by governments planted by the Americans all across Sri Lanka, Colombo, Pakistan, of course, less said the better, but Bangladesh as well. I want to run the visuals, ladies and gentlemen, here, comparing what has happened in both cases. In both cases, Bangladesh as well as Nepal, students have been made some kind of a face of the coup. But they're only a face. They have been staged as pawns in the hands of somebody from across the continent who is pulling the string. The visuals in Bangladesh and the visuals in Nepal are strikingly similar. The coup architects, the architects of the coup, ladies and gentlemen, Yunus in one side and the rapper mayor of Kathmandu in the other. The architects of the coup, one Yunus, seen there in the visuals with Joe Biden, given the highest of honors by Joe Biden because he betrayed his own country. And similarly, ladies and gentlemen, there's a 35-year-old rapper. He sings rap music. I don't know if his visuals are here. Here he's the mayor of Nepal. He's the America's favorite. And he's poised to become the Prime Minister of Nepal. A man who cannot win an election in Kathmandu will become Prime Minister of Nepal. In both cases, ladies and gentlemen, these are plans of America, and they have been put in the job by America. Yunus was in America, in fact, on the day when the coup happened in Bangladesh. The Kathmandu mayor, who seems only too happy to be the Prime Minister there, is the next man, a rapper, a Zelensky-type figure. These people are often taken to America. God knows who funds them. But they apparently get a lot of funding, a lot of support. And that man on the right-hand side of your screen is the man who Donald Trump wants to be the next Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, of Nepal. All very cool, all very Gen Z, but it makes no sense. The fact of the matter is, these are American plants. The third point of comparison is the army takeover. If you see the visuals from Bangladesh and you see the visuals from Nepal, the army, obviously, which is part of the whole game, comes in to evacuate the stranded political leaders who have won elections, whether it be Oli. We may not like Oli very much here in India, but he's been an elected Prime Minister of Nepal. And Sheikh Hasina may have been close to China, but she's an elected Prime Minister of Bangladesh. In both cases, you have the chopper visuals of the choppers coming in, the army stepping in to sort of rescue and evacuate the leaders, almost as if on prompt. Ladies and gentlemen, we must remember that the strategic interests of both the leaders, Sheikh Hasina and now former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, were very strong with China. Now, I have no love lost for the Chinese, ladies and gentlemen. And obviously, China was playing the game. Here are the army stepping there and helping the political leaders, the elected political leaders, flee from their own countries. But the fact of the matter is that Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli had recently attended China's highly symbolic military parade in Beijing on the 3rd of September 2025. Here are his recent visuals with Xi Jinping just a few days back. This has irritated Trump, and Trump has got Oli out. Similarly, and you might find it almost unnatural, the similarities between both cases, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had gone to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping and her Chinese counterpart Li Qiang in Beijing on July 10th, 2025, just 25 days before her own government was toppled. In both cases, Sheikh Hasina and KP Sharma Oli had been making significant outreaches to the Chinese. Now, Sheikh Hasina also kept her own line open with Narendra Modi, but the fact of the matter is they were not on America's side. America wanted a presence. America wants a presence. This is her meeting after Prime Minister Modi was sworn in for the third time, and the first visit of a foreign dignitary to India after Prime Minister Modi was sworn in was that of Sheikh Hasina. So, ladies and gentlemen, whenever leaders in South Asian countries have grown close to India or close to China, they become a threat to America, and America needs a pivot, and that's why they've carried out these fake Gen Z protests, which are not fake Gen Z protests. These are coups that have been carried out on American deep state CIA instructions in Nepal and Bangladesh in order to ring-fence India. The last point you must consider, and those are of times. These are very well-planned social media protests. This is a pure CIA plan. Money is put in, social media is used as a tool, the Gen Z is paid off, violence is started. Within 2 or 3 days, tremendous instability is created. The police has to be called out, then paramilitary has to be called out, then the army has to be called out. Then there is complete public violence, and because the state cannot respond with the kind of violence which is unleashed by the so-called protesters, the leaders have to flee, and there is a complete takeover. This is what Trump is doing in our region. In Bangladesh, the protests in Bangladesh turned violent on 15th of July. Sheikh Hasina was forced to resign on 5th of August, 20 days all over. In Nepal, it took just 36 hours to topple the government. Is it possible this happened without any foreign coordination? Is it even conceivable that America is not behind this? Finally, I want to go back to India, and I want to tell all the people of the country, be very careful. There have already been 4 attempts to create mobocracy in India. And here are the visuals of them. If you don't remember, after Narendra Modi got sworn in, there was a sponsored land acquisition protest in 2015, the next year. There was an attempt to bring down the government in Delhi with the first attempts at mobocracy. This is land acquisition protest 2015, ladies and gentlemen, and chaos had happened at that time. Then Shaheen Bagh. And then there was the Bharat Tere Tukde Honge slogans. The engineering of Shaheen Bagh happened in 2020, 2021. Bharat Tere Tukde Hai, these are the visuals of that, happened in 2016, 2017. And then there was the fake farmers Greta Thunberg protest, which happened in 2021. On 4 occasions, there have been full attempts in India to try and bring down the government through mob violence. The anarchy playbook of the CIA is very real. You can fool yourself and believe, no, it's not true. All this is made up. But I'm telling you, learn to connect the dots. And therefore, when you hear a misleading headline saying Gen Z protests in Nepal, remember it is not Gen Z. It is murderous, it is violent, it is anti-democratic, and without a doubt, it is foreign-sponsored. Let's debate.
Rajalakshmi Chitrakar, the wife of Nepal's former Prime Minister Jhalanath Khanal, burnt alive at her house. Nepal's Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Vishnu Podel thrashed mercilessly. Another video shows him being chased on streets, being kicked and pinned to ground. Former Nepal Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deoba helplessly sitting in a field after being beaten up until army rescues him. Even his wife Arzu Rana Deoba, the current foreign minister, not spared. Country's top institutions set on fire. And after vandalizing, they wielded guns, fired shots inside the parliament premises. Presidential palace breached, vandalized and damaged. The so-called protesters looted the weapons from police. Not a common street, but the house of Prime Minister set on fire, vandalized, looted.
Hello guys, viral.
Celebrating their victory, the rioters celebrate with no remorse, no shame. KP Oli, the Prime Minister who lost his chair within 36 hours, seen boarding the army chopper. His prime ministers also rushing to army barracks to save their lives. Security forces completely failing as the rioters take over. The last 36 hours in Kathmandu have been nothing but a complete collapse of law and order and government machinery.
It's a very concerning situation in Nepal. And with us, we have, our panelists, Madhav Nalapat, Savio Rodriguez, Ratan Sharda here. We have Santosh Mehrotra, Pula Rao, Ganga Sahai Meena, all here. And my first question from Kathmandu, I have Dr. Pramod Jaiswal, who's Research Director at the Nepal Institute of International Cooperation and Engagement. Now, you say that you are in support of the student protests. Are you also in support of the burning to death of former Prime Minister's wife? The burning of the parliament, the burning of the president's house, and the burning of the Supreme Court. Are you also in support of the lynching of your former Prime Minister, Sher Bahadur Deoba? And the burning alive of the wife of former Prime Minister Jhalanath Khanal. This is not some Gen Z protest. Do you know what you've started?
Shall I comment, Arnab?
Yes.
Hello.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Dr. Jaiswal. I can hear you.
Okay, shall I start?
Yeah.
Arnab, you have shown number of videos of today. There are almost 7 videos, but you didn't show a single video of yesterday. You are showing people lynched, but you did not show a single video of 19 people being killed yesterday. I think it's unfair, Arnab, that when 19 people were killed...
You are therefore of a view.
Arnab,
view that a little bit of lynching, burning is completely understandable.
I know your behavior. I was in India. I know behavior. When I talk, keep your mouth shut. Let me speak for 2 minutes. You didn't show a single video of 19 people being killed yesterday. Not people. Children. Arnab, how old is your son? You know, young kids, 15, 16 were killed. 19 of them. A people is lynched today. 19 were killed yesterday. Who killed them? The state killed them. So I support the student movement, which was for corruption. I did not support all the violence that happened yesterday,
Now,
and that is
Dr.
happening.
Dr. Jaiswal, 1 minute now. One minute now. Let me. I heard your response, and I need to ask you a next question. My only limited point to you is this. My limited point to you is this. My limited point to you is this. See, all of this, Dr. Jaiswal, listen to me. Dr. Jaiswal, control yourself. Learn to speak properly. Have you not seen the visuals? Why are you getting worked up? Why are you getting worked up? The wife of the former Prime Minister has been burnt alive. Put those visuals on air. Let him see. Let him see. I will not keep my mouth shut. You better keep your mouth shut. You listen to me. I am asking you what is happening in your city, in your country. Do you take responsibility for what has happened? Have you been able to light a fire that you cannot stop? Don't teach me manners. Why are you getting angry when I show you these visuals? You want me to censor these visuals? Why are you getting worked up? Your Prime Minister, your Parliament has been burned down. Your Supreme Court has been burned down. Your Parliament has been set ablaze. Your Supreme Court has been set ablaze, and you must tell me whether you hold yourself responsible.
Delhi is not burning, so don't get heated. Don't lose your nerve.
No, so you are saying you have a right to burn your country.
90 people died here. I can lose nerves. You should not. So listen, have patience.
Listen, you're the one losing nerve here, Pramod. Pramod, you're the one losing nerve here. I'm only asking you a question.
Wait. I will not tolerate your nonsense. Because you have said misinformation.
Because I'm asking you a question.
Just now you said Mayor of Kathmandu, Balin, has not won a single election. Who gave you this information?
Okay, let me ask you. Obviously, he's won an election.
Ask the people.
But let me show the pictures of the rapper who's going to become your Prime Minister.
Do you have access to Google? Do you have access to Google? Who?
No, don't tell me about access to Google. Tell me, would it be wrong to say that the visuals of the rapper who's going to become your Prime Minister, he would be very convenient to the Americans?
Arnab is a liar. Arnab, your pant is on fire. Arnab is a liar. Wait.
You're behaving like a child, Pramod.
Arnab is a liar. Arnab is a liar.
You're behaving like an absolute child.
No. You learn to behave. Indians have not taught you how to learn.
You basically are behaving like a child today. Don't do this liar, pants on fire thing. I am asking you whether you find it, whether you're happy with the way things have turned out.
Arnab, if anyone behave like this in Nepal, I'll slap them. So learn.
No, listen. I mean,
behavior.
your indecent
Wait,
behavior.
wait.
You're
Ask a
threatening.
question,
You're threatening to
ask a
lynch
question,
me.
and
Your
let me
use
answer.
of violent behavior. I mean, like, why are you behaving like this? I'm asking you whether you're happy with the way things have turned out.
Let me answer. Let me answer. Keep your mouth shut for 30
Are you happy
seconds.
with the
Let me
way things have turned
I'll
out?
answer. I'll answer. I have the answer. I have the answer. You're not letting people listen.
Yeah, but don't
I'll
get
make
worked up.
them-
Just relax,
I'll make
breathe, all
them
right?
listen today.
Just breathe,
We have
relax,
6 Indians.
take a
We
deep
have
breath,
6
calm
Indians.
down.
We'll give them 6 times
Calm
more
down.
to speak. Wait.
Calm down
I need
first.
3 minutes. I need 3
First,
minutes.
calm down,
3
Pramod.
minutes.
Pramod,
3
you're
minutes.
not seeming like you're all right. Show the pictures of Deoba, please.
3 minutes. You keep your mouth shut and I'll start my speech. Number one, you have not showed a single video of 19 people being killed yesterday. Arnab, ask your Indian friend to Google and find out it's available. Number one. Number two, what happened today are very unfortunate. You saw few videos.
Show the videos of
More than
Deoba and the
50
others.
houses. More than 50 houses of top leaders of Nepal are burned. They're hiding in army shelter. They're all
Where are the
unfortunate.
visuals which
we
I've
are
asked you to show?
we are very, very sorry for
Not
that.
this.
Number three, what you
No.
mentioned role of deep state, it might be true. It might be true. I don't have evidence. Delhi might have more evidence because what you said is true that the Nepalese Prime Minister Oli was in China. He met Xi Jinping, he met Putin, he met Kim Jong-un and he came back. So obviously, I don't know what deep state have interest. I don't know. I have limited information. You might have more access. Last is army accused. You say army is taking a. You put army in a very negative light. Army is playing a very important role here at the moment. They are playing a role as a negotiator. Nepal army has never played a role where.
Okay, so I'll ask you just one point, please. Pramod, now I heard you there. And now it is important that you hear my next and very simple question. Nepal, no, you say, now Pramod, I let you speak. Now you listen to my point. Let's be decent towards each other. I have no personal animosity with you. All right? I have no personal animosity with you. All right? Okay? I love Nepal. It's a great country. I've reported there myself in 2001.
I spent all my life in India.
I've reported there when the royal family massacre happened, I lived there in the Yakin Yeti Hotel for many weeks. I love Nepal, great country. I have great admiration for your country. And we share a lot of cultural and religious similarities, right, as Hindu majority nations. That is not the point. My concern is over one thing. See, I couldn't care less for the Oli government. Pramod, okay? I am not too fond of governments that sidle up too closely to Xi Jinping, and maybe he's paid the price for that. My point is, you are a sovereign country. Your Supreme Court upheld the government requirement saying that Facebook, Insta, WhatsApp, YouTube, X need to comply with Nepalese registration, Nepalese grievance redressal, and Nepalese content moderation rules. In America also, these companies have to follow American rules. Your Supreme Court, your Oli government, elected government, blocked the handles. The Nepal Supreme Court upheld the government requirement. Okay? And now what has happened is the protesters say we disagree with the blocking of the sites. And on that basis, we burn down the Supreme Court. Of course, there are other ancillary issues of corruption and the lack of popularity of the Oli government. I have no doubt about it. But there is a process. There is a process. If this becomes the playbook, Pramod, be logical about it today, okay? If this becomes the playbook, tomorrow Nepal will lose its sovereignty. Any foreign country, any foreign tech company can come together to create a sense of social imbalance. Your High Court, your Supreme Court, your elected governments will cease to matter. The excitement of an insurrection lasts for 48 hours. But the impact on the country is felt for decades. In that sense, I am fully sympathetic with the students who lost their lives. But you see, governments are also caught in this bind. When this is exactly what happened in Bangladesh. Tell me, Dr. Pramod, do you not see similarities between what happened in Bangladesh in June 2024, July 2024, and what has happened in Nepal in September 2025?
Okay.
Please.
Arnab, let me bring you here. How it started. First, the youth of Nepal started putting videos on social media that how our leaders are corrupt, how they are having wonderful life, big houses, wonderful cars. Their children are having wonderful time in New York, Amsterdam, and traveling around. When those videos were posted on social media. Then the government came with what you talk about ban and all. They had different excuse for that, number one. That's why the demand of the student was not what you expect today. It was social media ban removal, number one, and two was corruption. Then they were welcomed with 19 bullets. And then what happened? They asked for resignation of the Home Minister. Home Minister resigned. They also asked for resignation of Prime Minister. He refused. Social media ban was removed. They failed to address the demand on time. Today, it was a very unfortunate day when they failed to, the Prime Minister did not deliver on time, when he did not resign, they started burning the house of.
But why was the wife of a former Prime Minister burnt alive? Why were armed automatic rifles taken into your parliament premises? These are not protesters, Pramod. Are they? If you don't mind, I'll welcome some other panelists, please, because this should not be a conversation between you and me. I have nothing adversarial with Bangladesh or Nepal, but I need you to hear the other side also. Can I bring in Professor Madhav Nalapat for a moment? Can I just bring in another voice? You just hear another voice, please. Pramod?
I'll give enough.
Pramod, just hear Professor Nalapat. We are concerned. We love Nepal. We are very concerned about the violence today and yesterday. We don't want Nepal's sovereignty to be compromised. Professor Nalapat, how do you view this?
Look, Arnab, I'd like to point out that this highlights the importance of, well, where some of us may dismiss it, but Gen Z. And the reality is that even the Catholic Church, which has survived an institution for so long, they have now canonized a Gen Z individual, Carlo Acutis, as a saint. And that is a recognition of the power of Gen Z. Now, fortunately, our government, our Prime Minister in particular, understands the importance of Gen Z and gives due respect to Gen Z. But may I point out that we cannot at the same time ignore some fundamental causes behind Nepal, behind Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. And that was, unfortunately, widespread corruption at the highest levels. I don't think you can argue that the Gotabaya Rajapaksa family was honest. Neither Sheikh Hasina's, unfortunately, and I mean, nor has this the government that just now is no longer there, been honest. So I would really like
Professor Nalapat, the most corrupt political leader in the world today is Donald Trump. The most corrupt political leader who would take a sidekick and make some side money on the basis of a crypto deal with Bangladesh is Donald Trump. But Donald Trump brings out the army to defend himself on the streets of Washington. So I don't understand, corruption is, I am telling, okay, they are corrupt, but is this the way? Is there not to be a process? I want to bring in Santosh Mehrotra. Yes, there is corruption in Nepal. Everybody knows that's corruption in Nepal, and there has been incipient anger. But is this the way to deal with it? Would Washington allow this to be done within Washington? Santosh Mehrotra, please.
Mr. Goswami, I think we have to take every country in its own terms. And I'm glad that you have at least one spokesperson, one person from that country here. 6 of us are not experts on Nepal. So we shouldn't pretend to be browbeating our good friend, Ms. Dr. Jaiswal from there. Point one. Point two, if we even appear to be browbeating Dr. Jaiswal, the one person on this show who is from Nepal, we will be blamed and fingers will be pointed at us as Indians that India is always paying big brother. So let me put those points aside. Let me move to the substantive issue here. I think if we are focusing on some foreign powers' role, we are first forgetting that in all 3 cases, Sri Lanka first, second Bangladesh, and third now Nepal, the movement has been led by very disillusioned young people who have been rendered jobless by extremely corrupt and extremely misgoverned countries. And that's the reason why we are where we are in these 3 countries. I would I would want to know how is it that our own RAW, which must have been operating there, was not informing us, the Indian government. The same obviously transpired in Bangladesh. Let's not, overplay as victims the foreign power hand. We've seen this going on from Mrs. Gandhi's time.
I'm sorry.
Let's not keep
I'm
doing
sorry. I'm
doing
sorry.
ourselves
I'm
in
sorry,
this- in South Asia
Santosh
nation.
Mehrotra. Santosh
This-
Mehrotra. One minute. Santosh Mehrotra, I want to come in here. You see, I still am on planet Earth, unlike you who's on planet La La Land. The reality is this. The reality is this. I'll tell you why. The reality is this. You have to be in La La Land, and you have to be on La La Land and La La Planet and La La Solar System. You know, there is this NGO called Hami Nepal. 1 minute. You think I don't know what's happened in Nepal? Hami Nepal is founded in 2014. Okay? It has neither got the funding footprint nor the public infrastructure to mobilize at this scale overnight. It is not possible unless Hami Nepal is networked into external capital, foreign and foreign digital platforms.
What about China?
Well, what about China?
China
Now my
has
point
a-
is, my point is, has this happened without funding?
Ask Dr. Jaiswal.
Has this happened
China
without
also
funding?
playing a hand there?
Ratan Sharda, I'll get everyone in. Ratan Sharda.
Arnab, I have a
Coming to you,
different
Pramod,
take.
just give me a moment. Yeah,
I will
Ratan
pick
Shah.
up from where Mr. Mehrotra took off. He said that we should not interfere, we should not act like a big brother. I totally agree. But when did it start? It started when Nehruji did not give due respect to Nepal, refused to work closely with them when the king said he wanted to work closely with them. Then we had progressive, the leftist, who overturned the traditional monarchy of Nepal and imposed their own progressive idea of having a democracy when the nation may not be ready. So we put the entire Nepal politics in the hand of Maoists, in the hand of extreme leftists, who went to the lap of Mao. So from there, and if we say Nepal has only gone down and down, and the politicians of Nepal, worst kind of people who could not even come on unanimity about constitution, nor about governing, and their continuous change. So this is the background on which we should look at Nepal, neither as a big brother, not as a small brother, but as somebody who actually created an atmosphere which led to the situation because we interfered in Nepal at that time. Or we did not give them due respect, nor that institution the due respect. Our overbearing attitude of socialist and leftist people in India was the cause of upturning of the entire Nepal society. Now coming to today, I think it is more close to Sri Lanka than Bangladesh. See, Bangladesh had a very strong jihadi army. They had a very strong base which they utilized with the help of overseas powers to throw Hasina out. The pressure was too much. They already had huge backing in the huge network in Bangladesh. In case of Sri Lanka, it was typical a case of somebody playing the strings and then throwing the whole government out. And who did they get? They got a president who could not get elected in the first place. So is it going to be the fate of Nepal? That is my fear. Are we going to back up some kind of a very strong new government, or are we going to see a long chain of anarchy, which is my worry? Because that will also reflect on how China interferes, how other parties interfere,
See, Ratan-
and what
Ratan
Bharat
Sharda,
will do.
this
And
is happening in
Modi came up with the idea of Lipu Lake when he wanted to divert the attention.
This is happening in a particular point. You see, Pramod, you are close to the ground. You obviously have your views. You know the individuals. You know the players. I don't. But I would just like to tell you how I'm looking at it, and Savio will make a comment and you come in. Nepal has a huge amount of strategic significance, sandwiched as it is a landlocked country between China and India. Two major global powers who will be the number 2 and number 3 economies in the world 3 years from now or 2 years from now. Now, therefore, whether Nepal likes it or not, whether you like it or not, Pramod, the fact is America will want a pivot in Nepal. So if you have a Zelensky kind of guy, and I'll run pictures, Zelensky used to come on television, reality TV star, a comedian dancing around, and similarly your present mayor, I give him full respect, but he's just a mayor. And he's very, 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 very close to the Americans. The American ambassador keeps meeting him. He's known to be very close to the Americans. Can we run his pictures, the next likely prime minister of Nepal? Now, if you have a person of that inexperience and lack of political clout, a Zelensky kind of figure in Nepal, can we run the visuals, please, producers, so people know who I'm speaking about, full frame, properly. If you have this person now in charge of Nepal, from being a rap star, he becomes mayor, and now he becomes prime minister. My question to everyone is not undermining him, but this person is the right kind of person who's very flexible. You have this person, he becomes America's puppet, and there is a power vacuum in Kathmandu, back to the screen. This opens this place for a pro-America coalition to gain leverage. Washington gets an ability to counterbalance Beijing along the Himalayan frontier. You have a weak prime minister who's supposed to be a Gen Z figure. And just like in Bangladesh, where Hasina's exit reshuffled Dhaka's China tilt, the Nepal crisis hands over Nepal to Washington with a strategic reset. This is the consequence. Savio, your comments before I go back to Pramod.
You know, I empathize with the Gen Z of Nepal. I empathize with the people and the families who've lost their lives. But unfortunately, please understand, you are nothing but a pawn in a larger geopolitical game. That geopolitical game is fought between the United States and China. The entire game that you're seeing in Sri Lanka, the game you saw in Bangladesh, the game that you saw in Pakistan, the game that you're seeing in other Asian countries, is nothing but a fight between US and China. The fight between the deep state in the US and the deep state in China to have accessibility and control of the economic interest in those countries.
And the strategic location.
And the strategic locations over there as well. So, unfortunately, yes, corruption was an issue, and rightfully so, the Gen Z, which is the energy of a nation, has reacted, just as the Gen Z in Bangladesh. But unfortunately, you are not seeing the larger game. The game is the utilization of these nations as a pawn. In fact, India too is a probable target of the next stem of deep state interests. They have tried it 3 times before.
Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Nepal.
Correct. And next, India. What is it that they want? There is a playing field between the US and China. They are using these territories as strategic control areas that they want from an economic point of view and a military point of view and a strategic location point of view. The role point where it went deteriorated, and which is why I don't support it at this point of time, is when you all decided to resort to extreme violence. Yes, the deaths of the students was wrong and could have been dealt with differently. But unfortunately, you all have turned this into an absolute mayhem and violence.
No, the fact also is that there was excessive state violence against the protesters.
Of course there was.
Both in Dhaka and in Kathmandu. And in fact, in Kathmandu, people were angry because the police fired directly at the students with live ammunition.
That is
killing
correct.
19 students and injuring 300 in a single day. Right? It was worse than Dhaka. But we must now look at the consequence of all this. Now, Pramod, the consequence is very more dangerous. 2 days of violence, extremely bad. Now what happens? Who settles things? Are the people of Nepal going to be in control of their own destiny?
Okay, Arnab, you read few lines of my books because I'm expert on geopolitics, and what you said about India, China, and Nepal is my books because I spent 10 years in one of the most infamous university that you hate, is JNU. I was a student of there. So my PhD was in Nepal.
I have no problem with JNU. I have a problem with the tukre mindset.
So I understand what you said is true. Hasina, Gotabaya, Oli, they're all corrupt. We know that. You also said that there are external factor. China played a role in Nepal. A few days ago, you were making noise that China is interfering into Nepal, which is true. China does that. China is a great power. India does that. India is out of power. US does that. So I don't deny that these countries engaged in Nepal. They have their interest. They are doing that. I don't deny that. I'm also not denying that Nepal can be a pawn of geopolitical game, but my question is, where is India, the traditional partner? If you are a regional power, why are you shouting today at Nepal for your failures when you have failed in Colombo, when you failed in Dhaka, when you failed in Nepal? What was India doing when deep states were there? So this is the question to the Indian government, which you can have another show on that. Coming to other question, I'm sad with what is happening in Nepal. All the visuals that you say are very disturbing. I'm disturbed. You can sense that on the television. I'm also disturbed what I witnessed yesterday was 19 of them killed. Our parliament is on fire. It's a very beautiful parliament gifted by Chinese. Our president house is in fire. Our Supreme Court is burned down. Our top media is in fire. I'm really worried about that. I don't know. I'm talking to you. My house can be on fire. I'm worried about that. What I'm also asking you to is also talk about those students who risk their lives and talk about corruption. What they asked, social media removal. I mean, was it so challenging that you had to shoot 19 bullets to get social media ban removed? Or no, it's a switch. You can put it on and you can remove. Or you can talk, it can resolve. I mean, bullet was not the answer. Dialogue was the answer. I didn't say that social media should have been removed. Maybe government can continue what they want, but they should tell the student, why don't you come? Let's celebrate. Let's talk to you. Why do you want social media? Can you create another fake book, net book, Nepal book, any book like that for you? Can you create WhatsApp, Nepal app and all those? The government should that is anger. My anger lies there. Let me finish. Second is that, what is happening here is that none of the powers here, the anger is with the major political parties. What Nepal wants is that we have top three parties, the same top leader, they are revolving all the time. In 20 years, they're in power, turn by turn. Arnab, you are in same show for 10 years, but we got 10 prime ministers in 10 years. You are running the same show. We got 10 prime ministers. So with that musical chair, we didn't want it. The frustration of Nepal is 10 times more than what you can expect and what I've expressed, nothing less.
Pramod.
So there's huge frustration in this country, and people want change.
Pramod, I have no issues. No, can I get in? Pull up for a moment and Ganga Sai. I mean, I want to say one thing. Obviously, there is no smoke without fire. There has to be an element of people being provoked. But the speed and nature and the extent of the violence, the speed of these so-called protests and the nature of the violence and the use of arms and ammunition and murders and lynching that has happened here makes me completely convinced that this is not a students' protest.
Arnab, only 1 second.
Students don't... No.
Never in the history of Nepal, 19 people were killed in one day. Never in the history of Nepal.
Yeah.
We overthrew 200 years old monarchy, but 90 people did not die.
Yeah,
in one day.
but Nepal does spark violence. Violent incidents happen.
All kind of protests.
So I think we'll have to be very watchful, right?
Die in a single day.
We have to be. See, you are a country with a strategic importance. You have to be careful before a 35-year-old rapper takes over your country and decides the future of a landlocked nation between India and China. This is not a situation that's good for Nepal's own political stability. Pulla, what's your take? Pulla.
My take is very simple. 2008, a gang took over Nepal. Before me, Mr. Dalapat, Mr. Sharda and Mr. Savio spoke, and a lot of sense they made. They took over, they harassed India, they insulted India, they brought China to our borders. Everything is going on. And you can't compare Nepal with this 3 crore people with 150 crores. Some American Facebook fellow can't play here. I think you should bring this back to the correct perspective. There's nothing wrong if a mayor who is a rapper becomes a leader. There's nothing wrong. This is a new age. A television star becomes the president. How did Donald Trump become? You see, you forget all of that. Is this what these people have done to their country? Within a month, every Nepalese politician had Rolex watches. They were called, ask my friend from Nepal. They masked wealth. They changed the whole structure of Nepal. There's no longer strategic value, as you say, because it is a society which is sundered. When it was under the king, it had one voice. These people replaced the king. 15 years, 15 governments. Is that stability? And won't people be upset?
So what is your solution? You don't like elections, you don't like democracy. You are saying that we are in a hurry.
No, I'm saying...
We want to change the government overnight and this is the only way to do it.
Let us not shed tears for the past, the wicked past of the last 18 years. Let us hope for the future. That a rapper who is a Maithili, cultural activists will show the right trend, right instinct.
Savio.
Abdullahji, I am not talking of the past. I am talking
Savio.
of the future.
Whenever there has been a violent protest that has originated, why is it that the social media, which is the new deep state weapon, is always behind it? Whether it was Sri Lanka, whether it was Bangladesh, whether it was Manipur, whether it was any other place, now you have it in Nepal. Why is the social media the trigger?
Social media of today is the television and
because the
radio
social
and
media
pamphlets of
is
50 years
able
ago.
to capture the mind
Just
of the
technology.
Gen Z. And social media is a deep state
It is
asset.
only technology.
Okay,
it's a deep state asset.
Now here's a question here. Here's a question. What is the guarantee that under American influence, if he becomes prime minister, this 35-year-old Kathmandu mayor, he will not allow an American military base to be set up inside Nepal?
You see, we have to see.
No, there's no you see. I'm looking at it from our country's perspective and Nepal.
For us,
No, our
that's not a bad
country's
idea.
Then Nepal
happened
becomes
very
an American satellite state.
No, it has happened well.
better
The
than
gang
satellite,
was
no?
against India, against peace for the last 18 years. Ask my 3 friends to say I'm wrong. What all Nepal did, they sheltered Pakistan
You are an
terrorists.
interesting
They
man
gave
here,
Bangladesh
Pulla.
terrorists.
You are saying everything should be controlled from Washington. Nepal's
Nobody says
Supreme
it should
Court,
be controlled
Nepal's
from
High Court does not
Washington.
matter.
It should not.
Nepal's Parliament does not matter. You have a
India
perception of
should be
corruption,
respected.
and hence you must have
India should be
mobocracy.
respected. India should be respected by whoever takes over in Nepal, and they will do it.
I am telling you,
can't
of course,
survive
they will be
otherwise.
respectful to India. They will have to be. That's not the point, and we'll also be respectful to them.
cannot
We must not be blind to what has happened. Ganga Sai, Meena, can I get your take on what's happened? You're muted, Ganga.
No, I think we should see all the incidents from the Nepal's perspective, and we should distinguish between the deep state and the people's movement. And our friend from Nepal is clearly saying that it's a people's movement, and we are showing only the one side of the story. And we must examine what inspiration is driven in this movement, how it happened. When we discuss about our anti-corruption movement, it was a great movement because it changed the government. We never talk about any deep state where...
No, I'm sorry, there was... No, 1 minute.
alive.
Narendra Modi won an election 4 years after India against corruption. Please don't make up facts, Ganga. Don't give me this tukde mindset reply, please. There was a legitimate election. Am I right, Madhav?
India is a free democracy,
Rubbish.
and that's why, for example, the BJP tally fell. The BJP tally fell very sharply in the last election.
We got to close.
And
Yeah.
the sign that democracy is alive and well in India. Prime Minister Modi is under attack by Donald Trump precisely because he does not function in accordance with Trump's wishes. So the reality is these 3 leaders function in accordance with China's wishes.
There's no. What happened on the 8th of September?
An independent-minded person.
What happened on
and
the
that's
8th of
why I see
September?
no danger of this happening in India.
What happened on the 8th of September with 19 people being killed on Monday is terrible.
Arnab, 19 young students. Kids,
19 young students being killed on Monday when live ammunition was fired at them is terrible. And Pramod, I know the facts. More than 400, 500 were injured. I can say that too. But what happened today is even worse.
But Arnab, you
And
want them to respond.
I am concerned at the strategic stability of Nepal. I'm sure, Pramod, you are as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I on the other side tonight, why I'm concerned at some people in India wishing that what happened in Nepal happens in our country. We say, #never in India.
Quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप